What's good, folks? Once again, this is Silent Mode, maker, artist, and LEGO Enthusiast, and thank you guys for joining me tonight in this rather unpredictable live stream. You can see that I've got Studio open here. Hello to Kathy and hello to Alexandria. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you will enjoy this live stream along with everybody else. So it's been one of those days today, and in keeping with my usual schedule, I set up this live stream, but I have absolutely no idea, or at least I didn't until now, what I was going to do. How's it going, JDP? In thinking about what I was going to do in this live stream, I thought about all the ideas I had floating around, and I am on Discord, yes. Eventually I decided to visit an idea that I talked about not so long ago, and that is Speak and Spell. I thought, why not have a go at trying to design one of these things finally, and to make things interesting, we're going to do it from scratch. Have no idea how this is going to go. I've had various ideas of how to go about this, but I haven't actually done anything so far. But we're starting with some reference images. I guess I'm going to show you guys how I would go about designing one of these things if I were to design one of these things. Now, noticeably, we got a couple of different versions, at least, of Speak and Spell. One has these membrane keys, which sits, this is a modified version it looks like, but the buttons sit flush on the surface of the device. And then we have the older version which has these protruding buttons. So that's the first decision I've got to make. Which version am I going to go for? Which version am I going to replicate? I guess it would be easier to do this version, but let's see how this goes. I'm just thinking about the general shape at the moment. So let's find some reference images. We can easily find the fronts, but we also want the back as well. We want to have some idea if we want to go 1-to-1 scale. We also want to have an idea of what the back looks like, what the sides look like, etc. So I would say that both versions have more or less the same shape. Let's see if I can find some other images. Almost forgot to say, for everybody who's joining in right now, hope you guys are doing alright, and certainly better than I am. I'm actually doing okay. I'm doing a little bit better than I expected, actually, but it's, as I said, one of those days where, I don't know, I've had all kinds of thoughts going through my head. I won't bore you guys with all the details, but there's been a lot to think about. Okay, I guess I can't find any pictures of the back of the Speak and Spell. JDP just woke up. Have to bear in mind that most of you guys are in a different part of the world. So over in Canada, for example, it's going to be early afternoon, I guess. Anyway, let's get to this and try and find some reference images. Maybe this one. Hopefully you guys can see the browser that I'm using at the moment for searching for images. I could have done this earlier, but I wanted to take you guys through the process. Excuse me. Alright, so we'll start with this image. So to answer Kathy's question from earlier, I am on Discord. I'm a member of Brick Therapy. I'm in the Brick Therapy Discord, of course. I don't have my own Discord server. That's just too much work. I also, admittedly, I'm not a particularly good moderator, so I have had attempts at running my own message board, forum, whatever you want to call it, but it's not particularly fun. Not for me anyway. But I do use Discord. Let's see, how do I do this? Add reference image, yeah. Alright, so you guys are enjoying the afternoon, early afternoon. It's, sorry, it's 8 p.m. over here. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing. Let's switch back to the main view. So what I've tried to do here is just insert reference image, just so you guys can see, or I can see, the image as it is within Studio. Anyway, so my first thought is trying to recreate the shape of the speak and spell, thinking about how big to make it. So for the time being, I think that I'd go by the number of keys. There's 10 keys by 4. Each of these keys will probably be 2 studs wide, I think. So let's start with that. It's going to be quite hard to get the actual shape of the keys in Lego, because we'd be looking at, if it's 2 studs across, then we'd want probably 1.5 studs tall. That could be a massive headache. So let's start simple at the moment. Let's do what just about anybody would do and use, could use 2x2 tiles, for example. And even then I'm feeling kind of fussy, because I want to get the space between each of the keys. So let's see, what can we do? We could use jumper plates. This is the thing, I've had ideas of how to go about this, but I really don't know, and I'm quite rusty. So I was thinking maybe offset each of these things like this. Let's use this plate as an example. So I'm thinking, if we had something like this, and let's imagine that these are the keys, and just color them yellow just for the time being. Well, that's no good, because it's still 1 stud apart. If I move that there, it would be right next to each other. So what can we do? Maybe use a regular plate instead. But then now they're misaligned. Man, I'm rusty. How about if I did that? Okay, that's more like it. So then we want to add a tile, perhaps. Let's copy these first. And then the pattern would repeat like this for the 10 or so keys. Gosh, this is annoying. Alright, I'll have to take a look at some of those pictures once I'm done here. Alright, to make things a little bit more interesting, I'm going to put some music on. And I'll be absolutely boring. I'm going to use the same music that I play on my Whatnot show. Let's see if I can find it. The playlist. Give me a second. Okay, I've got to add it as a sound source. The flat curved plates for the corners, yes. Excuse me, I could do that. I guess I was just too preoccupied with how I was going to do the keys. Alright, let's go back to Studio. Alright, so where's my reference image? There it is. So we've got a few sets of curves here. We've got the blue, then there's a pale red, then a yellow, and then red on top. So if I move that out the way, how would I do the curve? I think in this case I would probably use a quarter circle for this corner. Just manually do the corners like this, for example, and then just add tiles underneath. This can get really annoying trying to place the plates and things, but that's what I've got to contend with. So I'd have something like this. Okay, so Kathy has gone to the dentist. I should actually go see a dentist at some point, but I don't particularly look forward to it for various reasons. Messed up. Yeah, I've been meaning to make an appointment for quite some time. I was meant to have at least one filling. I just kept putting it off though. Okay, but glad that they did it all at once. Right. Just thinking, how do I place a key in this area here? I have to be honest, I'm having second thoughts about having gotten on a live stream to do this. Because this is, just thinking about the details, it's somewhat above my pay grade. Well, worst case scenario, I can delete this live stream and we can pretend it never happens. Just thinking, how can I put it there? Gosh, my brain isn't turned on today. I suppose if I put a 1x1 plate there, that's not very secure. So it'll fit like that. Okay, that's something, I guess. Well, I'd most likely opt for stickers. And I guess if it was actually released as a set, it would probably come with stickers, because that's a lot of tiles and things to get printed. Rumor has it that you don't like stickers though. Anyway, I should try not to focus too much on this idea of being perfect, because I can always go back and revise the design if I can actually move these things around properly. Yeah, how does it feel to be mentioned in a song? Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? Well, I think it should be a proud moment. Alright, so we've got part of the keyboard here. Let's see. We want 6. No, that's 5. Nope, 6. 6 is fine. It's basically what we had before. Although not quite. No, I think you'll be fine, Alexandria. If anything, they'll make you an ambassador or something. See, I'm trying to, there we go. Oh, nope. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, you know, all you have to do is speak to the right people, and I'm pretty sure they'll make you some kind of ambassador or something. Only thing is, you'll probably have to renounce most of us in brick therapy. See, I'm trying to move this right next to this other plate, but for some reason it is not playing ball. I'll just have to leave it like that then. Never mind. I'll lock that in place. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me. Well, I appreciate you saying that, Alexandria. I would say though that if the opportunity does arise, and well, long story short, if it makes sense to take that opportunity, even if it means doing this, that, or the other, then I'd say you should take it. But I get what you're saying. Well, I for one appreciate that. So yeah, I'm just, at the moment, yeah, I'm in the back of my mind, I'm thinking I want this to be perfect, but I'm also just concentrating on putting this together. And it's never going to be exactly, I mean, not with my abilities anyway, it's never going to be exactly like an actual speaking spell, but I can get somewhat close. Right, what I can do here is, would that work? No, let's keep it consistent. I'm going to hide these yellow keys for just a second. Just going to add some tiles underneath. That's what it looks like at the moment. I will say I do miss LDD, but that's gone for quite some time. Now, which tiles would I use to fill these gaps? I think for now I'll just use some corner tiles. As far as this live stream goes, I'm going to take things up to the hour, I think. I don't want to bore you guys to death. And besides, I think I got a lot more work to do on this before I feel brave enough to show it again. But one of the things I was thinking about today is that, I mean, I've probably said it a few times already, but I've hardly built anything this year, whether it's official sets or my own designs. So I'd like to focus a lot more on that. Even before the end of this year. Yes, it wouldn't be a speak and spell without a sound brick, would it? I'll just hide that for a second. We can get rid of these, I think. Can put a plate there for the time being, or yeah. See if we can get a 1x10 plate that should fit. If I can put it in place, that is. Tell you what, I'll shift one of these across, although we have to move these out of the way. Okay. So what I can do then is duplicate this plate here, and I should be able to merge. So we've got two 1x12, 1x12 plates. And if we merge, it becomes a 2x12 plate. Okay. Fill in that gap. We'd want to do the same on this side, but we'd have to introduce another 1x12 plate because it's an odd number of studs. So I heard about I had some news about the Great Western Brick Show last month, also known as STEAM, which is an annual event that takes place excuse me, in Swindon. And it's it used to be the biggest event, LEGO event in the UK, at least the biggest fan event in the UK. I didn't go this year, and as a matter of fact, I don't think I'll be going to any events for the foreseeable future. Just because as I said before, oh crap. Just a second. Sorry about that. I had that was a rather interesting incoming phone call, but I'm not going to answer it just now. But yes, apparently the Great Western Brick Show went really, really well this year, to the point where they filled up the entire museum and they were able to raise more money for charity, which is always great news. Well, I don't get calls that often, but this is, well, I'm not too sure if I wanted to actually receive this call. But yeah, long story short about this event stuff, I wouldn't feel comfortable going either as a visitor or an exhibitor until I have a lot more things that I could feel comfortable displaying. I have to do a lot more work on building my profile, having a body of work, etc. But I'll tell you about the call that I just received, actually, which I didn't answer, mainly because I'm doing this live stream. So I got approached earlier today by some missionaries from one of those Latter-day Saints churches, and yeah, I gave them, well, they seemed friendly enough, so I gave them my number. I didn't expect them to actually call, though. I thought they'd just keep things WhatsApp. Hopefully it's not something I'd have to be particularly careful about, but I guess we'll see. Alright, so that's what I have at the moment. I'm not too keen on the thickness of these outside borders, but I'm gonna have to work with that for the time being. If we go back to the design, we have a red outline. So I guess I'll do that bit next. I think it's just a straightforward border. It's okay if you're just watching, by the way. I think it actually works slightly better if the chat is quiet, but it is good to, it's good to know that there are people actually there. But always appreciate people watching either way. Oh yes, you had some problems with the van. I think it was last week or the week before that. No, it's okay. You don't have to be quiet. No. What I mean is, there's no obligation to speak or anything like that, but it's always good to know that people are watching. So yeah, this is my approach at the moment. It's obviously going to look quite bulky. I wish there was something I could do about that, but in doing this, I'm reminding myself I'm not a LEGO designer. It doesn't have to be accurate. If anything, well, when I say an actual LEGO designer, I mean somebody working for LEGO. They're the ones that have to be accurate, but usually they're able to pull it off. Oh, I got that wrong. So the topmost keys are orange and red. And I think to make things interesting, I'll use the newer reddish orange color for those keys instead of using red, or at least make this one reddish orange, because in this picture it looks slightly different. If I do the round buttons, they're more outs. Yep, I could actually turn these into the circle tiles, I think. If I just do a replace, to do it manually. I'll use those ones. See, that was simple enough. But this would represent the older version. I have to color those plates in. Yes, I wanted to ask, although I know some people don't like religion or anything, but is there anything to watch out for with these Latter-day Saints people? Apart from the phone calls. Okay, I think that's accurate. Oh dear. Well, excuse me, I certainly don't want anyone coming around to my house. Excuse me. Fortunately, excuse me. Yeah, fortunately I didn't give them my address. That would have been a bit too much first time I met somebody. But anyway, just looking at the design for the speak and spell, if we were to use the round buttons, I think we only have orange and red ones. Yeah, there's a red outline for the vowel characters as opposed to using yellow keys. But you know what, I'm designing my own version, so I think I'll stick with the yellow. Worst case scenario, we can do a printed tile with a red outline and letter. So I'm not worried about conversion because I suppose if I were to class myself as any religion, it would be Christian. But I know that there's different denominations of Christianity and all kinds of interesting things surrounding those. Right, so we've got a yellow border, which is a little bit more liberal, I suppose. I noticed that this top bit here is slightly taller. So let's make a small adjustment. As a matter of fact, I'll probably use some 2x6 tiles here. Are they the same as Jehovah's Witnesses? I would have thought they were. I would have thought they were different. You know, I almost completely forgot when I mentioned the idea of doing a speak and spell, and maybe the suggestion that it could be a Lego Ideas project. I almost wanted to ask people to perhaps join in with trying to design one, because I think it would be cool if it did become a thing. Maybe not my version, but somebody submitting a speak and spell would probably get it over the whatever the term is. I can't think of it right now. Because of course, somebody may actually, I say actually, somebody may do a better job of designing it than I could or would. Oops. I think that's okay for now. Right, I think it's something I would have to, and I probably should, look into a bit more. Certainly before I get myself any further involved. Now then, this is always a tough decision, trying to decide what to fill this large gap with, given that it's a large flat area. Well, I can't say I'm religious either. I guess I'm a non-practicing person. But as I would say about just about anything, if you don't have a problem with me, I don't have a problem with you. I'll just fill this in like this for the time being. Yeah, always aware though that not everybody has that same ideology. Some people have completely different ideologies that they are either trying to convert people to their way of thinking, or they will treat people badly because of a different way of thinking. That's a bit taller, I think, that bottom yellow bit. Literally just going by eye at the moment. Right, let me put this music back on. Actually, give me a second. I'm going to put a different selection of music on. Playlist is always changing. Alright, give me just a second. Well, I gotta admit, I've been guilty in one way or another of trying to convert people. Don't worry, just give me a second. I'm almost done. Okay. Yeah, I'm an expert in going off the rails, I have to admit. Anyway. Not offensive at all. Okay, that's what I have at the moment, and mustn't forget I gotta save my work. Now, of course, I could just cheat and make the whole keypad a large sticker. But then what's the fun in that? Alright. So I guess now I gotta think about the shape of this bottom piece. Just thinking about the outline for the time being. And I don't think these plates have to be red anymore. So for those who don't know, I use blue violet as a filler color just to indicate parts that don't have to be a specific color. Now these ones, because there's an exposed corner here, I just want to make this section red. Could probably just use a 2x12 plates, and the same for this side. We don't even have to do that, we could just use smaller plates. So from the top we can see this bit is filled in, and we may have to do the same thing for this corner as well, but the rest of this, let's move that over there, that can all be filler. But yeah, don't worry folks, you won't hear me necessarily going off on a religious tangent from this point on. It has gotten me thinking though about everything that's been happening in the last few years or so. Certainly in terms of how people treat each other. Some of the things I've been thinking about, but that's another subject for another day. I'm just thinking of the not the right way, but a way of approaching this. How am I going to build this up? One suggestion is just adding some more plates under here. It's probably unavoidable, but it's rather messy. I don't know. How to tackle this? Let's just go for it. I'll just add a bunch of plates underneath, like so. That's about the right amount, I think. Yeah. And this red area is slightly raised, so we're going to have to add some plates underneath. Don't think any of these are going to fit, strangely enough. Yes, well, technically all the buttons would have to be able to be pushed down to activate the sound brick. Maybe just the on button. Maybe. But yeah, so I think it's possible. I mean, you've seen what some people have done with the official Nintendo Game Boy. Apparently they're able to convert it into an actual Game Boy, so I think it's feasible. Just thinking. Actually, instead of doing this, maybe a different approach. I'm thinking maybe we could use bricks to make the red outline instead of a whole bunch of plates. And so what we'd have to do is, well, I'd take all of these just to make it more manageable. I'll turn it into a submodel. And rotate it like this. Maybe that would work, I have no idea. But I have to remember that this is all loose at the moment. And then maybe take one of these snot bricks as a start. And let's try turning it upside down first of all. Then we could put it here. Maybe put a couple of them. Yeah, that's a solid idea. So essentially this whole thing would be a single button. Alright, so then what I would do is take some long bricks, maybe I don't know if they make a 1x16 in red. I'll stick with 1x10s for now. So I think this is a much more economical way of covering a whole bunch of space. It's just a shame that this is an odd number of studs. This is what I've got to work with. Let's build it up like this. I think maybe one more layer. Yeah, I think that will do. And obviously we want this curve at the bottom. So how can we do that? Maybe look to a round brick. Is it a round brick or a slope? Possibly use one of these. If we're able to put it like this somehow. I think that's a bit much. Maybe one of these. Put it there. But how to fill in that gap? it's a curved slope. Something like this. Okay, yeah. It's close. It's fairly close. Okay. Let's move that to the side. And for the sake of argument, let's add a plate that attaches to this snot brick. So I can move this forward. And then we got this rather unpleasant surface here. Darn. Let's roll with it for the time being. I mean, that's what it's going to look like. I'd rather have hold on. If I... Okay, there's nothing there. If I were to go into the submodel and take that tile out, and instead have a 1x6 tile here, which I can't place because, well, let's go out of the submodel. If I were to put that there, and then maybe a double cheese slope. See, this is why I was thinking to make this a little bit more smooth. But there's a slight overlap here. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too much about this. If I were to do that instead, that's too jagged, I'd say. Gonna undo all of that. Yeah, let's have a look. Let's go back to our browser and see if we can find a side view Now, I don't know about you guys, but that doesn't quite look like a side view to me. Okay. I think maybe 10 more minutes and then I will unburden you folks. I'm gonna have to really think about this because this is stumping me. Okay, so where are we? We got this keypad. I'm thinking this red area. This red area should be brick built, just because it's. I mean, I've seen some pictures of the. Well, to be more accurate, I saw a video, but the back is mostly red, and the sides are quite thick as well. Good call about eBay, or Feebay as I call it. Let's see if there are any on sale on eBay. Just waiting for the pop-up to appear. It's not going to appear. That's cool. Speak and spell. And these are results in the UK. Oh, there's the pop-up. Okay. Alright, so quite a few people selling speak and spells. What's up, Owen, aka Cosmic Bricks? And I'd be very interested to hear your opinion because I'm fresh out of ideas. Okay, technically that's a side view. See, that's what we're working with. It's quite a bulky model. So my thought at the moment, if you can imagine the body of the speak and spell being divided into 3 parts. You got the handle, which could be one part. So you got the screen area, which is another part, and then you obviously got the keypad and this bottom bit, which is the third part. So I was more focused on the keypad because that's probably the most distinctive part of the speak and spell. Although we could go ham and just make this a tiled surface and just add a massive sticker if you really want authenticity. Yeah, Owen's got that work ethic. He's been working on his YouTube channel. He's got the Alien Conquest sets, and he's really making a go of it this time. How's it going, Never Too Old? You haven't actually missed very much. I am absolutely rusty when it comes to designing things. So this is what I have at the moment for a speak and spell. I'm trying to figure out how to do the body, at least for this lower part here. I really don't know. And yes, I will keep an eye out for Never Too Old stream. I really wanted to catch the laser pecker one last night, but I was just too tired. Well, I can't wait to see it, Owen. I did hear about the good news, Never Too Old. But I'm looking forward to hearing you announcing the good news. I think you should definitely break the good news to people. And I do have some animals in mind. That's why I wanted to get in on the Laser Peckers show. So I think just go ham on with these snot bricks. Okay. I will be done in about 7 minutes, so no problems there. But you know what? It's well deserved, I would say, because as I've said before, I respect people who put in work. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. I am still working on the advent calendar, but spoiler alert, it's not going to be ready for this year. There's just way too much, and yeah, there's way too much to contend with, and maybe I was a bit too ambitious, but it's not the end of the road. You guys will hear all about it in the next episode. What am I doing? So if you imagine this is the top bit here, I'm thinking about something along these lines. Though right now I'm not sure how to go about it. I think maybe something involving plates. Oh no. Oh no. Oh man. That absolutely sucks. Okay, this is the last bit. This is the last tidbit I'll give. I was thinking something like this, but then we'd have a problem with the curve area here. So back to the drawing board. Okay, I think I'm going to call it a day at this point. I think I've done all I can for now. I'm gonna have to go away and think about this and hopefully come back to this at a later point. But thank you guys for humoring me. Thank you for playing along as usual. Man, that's really bad news, Owen. I hope something can be done about it, certainly, but yeah. Anyway, I'll give you guys your time back, and all that's left to say is thank you very much for joining me. And this has been SilentMode, maker, artist, and LEGO enthusiast, encouraging you all, as usual, to do your thing.